I'm Vincent van Walt, and over the next few weeks and months I'm going to talk about equipment to take sediment samples, and particularly sediment samples which are either below the water table or indeed when they're very, very sloppy. And today's subject is sampling with something we call grab samplers, and in front of me I have two types. On the left here I have what is commonly referred to as a Veen Grab, and on the right I have this device here, which is often referred to as the Ekman Grab. So this is a small Veen Grab. Weight is about 8 kilos, and they are available in larger sizes. But as you go larger, progressively they get heavier. So it's a very simple device. On the side here there is this little pin that is purely for protection, so that you don't get your fingers trapped when you are transporting it. But to use it, we just pull out the pin, and now essentially the Veen Grab is already for use. On the top there's a shackle, and the shackle is where you would attach a rope to. So you may be working from a bridge, you may be working from a boat, but you attach a rope to that. And on the reverse side you'll see this little lever here, and that is the arming lever. So you push that through, and now the device is armed. Now, on the deployment, all that's necessary to do is to lower it to the bed of the lake or river or harbor, and then automatically, as you pull up on the rope, you'll see the drawers which will actually draw around the material, and you lift that and retrieve that to the surface. When you're at the surface, you just empty the device, close the system again to make it safe. You put the pin in there, and you're ready to go, and the sample is then released in your sample container. So having made the device safe again by having put the pin in there, I want to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of this set. Its advantage is really easy to use, but it only takes the top layers of the particular sediment you're interested in. So if you're interested in a seabed, for example, it'll grab a sample within the jaws of that seabed. The other disadvantage of the system, and why we might recommend the Ekman Grab instead of this, is that it's relatively wide, which means that if you want to sample something which is in a tank, you need the whole width to take the jaw calipers. You've seen that the way it works, it triggers as soon as you've hit the base of whatever it is you want to sample. So what you can't do with this set is to take a discrete sample at a higher level. It needs that pressure from the sediment underneath. So that is the Veen Grab, and now I'll show you the difference with the Ekman Grab and why you might want to use that instead. So this is the alternative called the Ekman Grab. Now you'll see in many ways it's the same. So on the one end we have the two jaws, and on the top we have a trigger device, but in this particular instance we are going to be able to trigger the device by sending a messenger, which is just a weight, from the surface, and that is going to fall on this trigger mechanism, and I'll show you in a moment how that works. But basically, that when you trigger that, it will release these two black wires, and the jaws will close. You'll see also it's a lot thinner than the Veen Grab, which means that if you want to sample in a tank or in a well with a restricted diameter, it's much easier. You don't have that width. That's advantage number one of the Ekman Grab. Second advantage, it's a bit lighter. So this device for the same size is about 3 kilos, whereas the Veen Grab, as we discussed, is 8 kilos. So there's advantage on the weight side of things. The other big advantage is that you can trigger this without it touching the base, which means that if you have very, very weak sediments, you could already trigger this at a higher horizon and capture whatever it is you want to capture horizon by horizon. An example would be where you might want to count the mollusks or suspended sediment at a particular layer. So how does this work? Very simply, you lower this on the string to where it is that you want to start sampling. And then now watch, as soon as I release the messenger, the item snaps closed in the sample. And when you get to the top, you can open the valves and you can actually see what has been captured in that particular horizon or location. So just to recap, there are different devices to sample very soft sediments. Also sediments from tank bases, from reservoirs, lakes, rivers, but they do it in a slightly different way. And it's a question of using the right tool for the application that you have. So the Ekman Grab has some advantages, but also has some disadvantages in the sense that it is a little bit trickier to use. The Veen Grab is very easy to use, but it requires to be lowered to the complete depth so that you actually hit the base of the reservoir or tank. Two devices, each working in more or less the same way, but each having distinct advantages over the other so that you can achieve a sample to the requirements that you have for the particular site.